It has been moved and seconded that Amendment 152 be adopted. Remarks, Representative Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sorry, I had some computer difficulties. May I read for accuracy?
Please proceed.
Thank you. So this specifies that if an incarcerated person has agreed to work or participate in a work program, the incarcerated person must comply with all established rules related to attending and disenrolling from the work or the work program. So, Mr. Speaker, during committee we heard, or I heard testimony from an individual that was talking about this exact situation. And what this amendment seeks to do is that if somebody that is justice involved agrees to be part of one of these programs intended to help them with rehabilitation, then they must, as part of rehabilitation, be committed to attending the program, or if they decide that they do not want to do that anymore, they still need to go through the proper protocol to decide not to do the program anymore. And the idea behind this amendment is when we consider rehabilitation, this is part of that training that once they are out, you know, in the civilian world again, you have to keep your promises. And if you decide that you want to make a change, just like you or I have to do, there are certain rules that we have to go by. Otherwise, there could be some issues that we face. So in the interest of, again, with rehabilitation in mind, this is just working on their skills to be successful when they are out. I urge a yes on this amendment.
Further remarks, the good member from the 6th District, Representative Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was able to speak with a local judge from my district. May I have permission to read the information that he provided?
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. RCW 72.09.130 is what sets up school and work as voluntary for inmates. You earn credit off your sentence as an incentive for bettering yourself. If you don't want to better yourself, then you serve the actual sentence imposed by the judge. Mr. Speaker, the state of Washington invests a lot of money and resources into providing programs for the incarcerated to, again, learn skills, and not just necessarily learn skills. When somebody sits in a certain area and they don't engage with other people, they don't engage in programs that are meant to help them be successful once they are again back out into society. That is the whole reason for these programs. And, you know, having again had the chance to speak to the local judge, that the meaning is really very clear. They don't have to participate in these programs if they choose not to. However, that means that they're not going to get the good time served either. Life is full of choices, Mr. Speaker. It was a bad choice that ended them up where they were. Now they have an option to make a good choice to help them get out and become a productive member of society, which is something that, Mr. Speaker, I believe you and I, that is something that we can agree on. With that, I'm urging a yes on this amendment.
The good lady from the 6th District, Representative Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I can appreciate many of the thoughts that have been communicated both during committee hearings and tonight. As a mother, I'm going to come at it from that point of view. I don't consider that teaching my children to know how to clean, cook, wash laundry, which some of the people that are incarcerated may not have learned when they were in their previous situation. Those are life skills, Mr. Speaker. And I will also push back when we're talking about 42 cents an hour. I would assert, Mr. Speaker, that it's far more than that. The taxpayers have to pay for lodging. They have to pay for any programs that the incarcerated participate in. Taxpayers also pay for the opportunity for incarcerated to be able to get college degrees or other things to be able to better themselves. Earlier, I again talked about when you enter into an agreement, you need to keep your end of the bargain. That is part of what you and I and everybody else have to deal with on a daily basis. It should not be any different whether you are incarcerated or you are not incarcerated. When we make it just the same as they would be outside, again, there is less of a shock when you leave one area where you are now not expected to do anything. But you're expected to be able to get all of the benefits that, let's face it, Mr. Speaker, some of the incarcerated have. There are many people that I know that are not incarcerated, and yet they don't qualify to get a free college education. And I will also point out that when we're talking about education, I have children that I worked, my husband worked, to help those kids get, go to school. And my children had to work 2 jobs while they were getting that education. I don't see there being any different. Life is like that, Mr. Speaker. There are many people that we know that have to work while they get that education in order to make sure that they have food and they have housing and insurance and things that you have to have on the outside. There is no difference between the two. So with that, we may have a few people that do support this. Given the fact that there were some of the amendments not taken, given the fact when we think about the spirit of when somebody deliberately makes a choice to harm or create a victim, that was a choice that they made. So when they find themselves in a certain situation where they have to go by certain things in order to be able to become rehabilitated, to be a better neighbor out in the community, then that is something that they have to do. So I, with that thought, am urging a no vote on this bill at this point.